This work is not about motivation, control, or force. It is about architecture, about designing a self that remains stable under pressure, clear under uncertainty, and sovereign over time. These principles are not meant to be memorized, but embodied. They are systems for how attention is governed, how energy is preserved, how decisions are simplified, and how identity becomes an instrument rather than a burden. What follows is not self-improvement. It is self-mastery, built slowly, deliberately, and from the inside out. You are not broken. You are unoptimized. This distinction matters. Broken systems require repair. Unoptimized systems require reordering. We begin with orientation. Most humans live inside reaction loops. They respond to pressure, emotion, urgency, and habit. This produces motion, not direction. Direction requires hierarchy. Higher order systems are calm because they know what is in charge and what is not. So we establish order. First, awareness. Awareness observes. Second, intelligence. Intelligence evaluates. Third, emotion. Emotion signals. Fourth, behavior. Behavior executes. Most humans invert this stack. Emotion commands, behavior reacts, intelligence rationalizes, awareness arrives too late. We reverse it. This reversal is not forceful, it is precise. From this moment forward, you are not trying to feel better, you are trying to see more clearly. Clarity stabilizes emotion. Stable emotion improves behavior. Improved behavior compounds identity. This is the correct direction of change. You are an upgradable system, not a personality to be fixed, not a story to be healed. A system. Systems respond best to clear rules and consistent signals. You do not need intensity, you need alignment. When alignment appears, effort decreases. Calm replaces urgency, structure replaces motivation. This is what higher order feels like. Not excitement, not bliss. Stability. From stability, power grows quietly. You are not becoming someone else, you are removing interference. Let that settle. This album is not about transcendence as escape. It is about transcendence as command. Command over attention, command over time, command over self. We proceed gently, but we proceed decisively. Concrete integration steps. Adopt the system lens. For the next 24 hours, observe yourself as a system, not a personality. Restore hierarchy once per hour. Ask silently. What is observing? What is evaluating? What is reacting? Stop chasing emotion. Do not try to feel good or calm, only try to see clearly. End the day with one sentence. Today I acted from clarity, not urgency. Power without stability is destructive. Stability without power is inert. Higher systems always establish stability first. Most humans attempt to gain power while internally unstable. They seek influence while reactive, speed while scattered, control while fragmented. This produces oscillation, moments of strength followed by collapse. Stability is not rest. Stability is internal agreement. When parts of the system stop arguing, energy becomes available. Observe instability. Instability is not emotion. Instability is contradiction. Wanting opposing outcomes, holding incompatible beliefs, acting against internal law, these conflicts leak energy continuously. Higher systems do not suppress conflict, they resolve it structurally. We begin by narrowing. Choose fewer priorities, maintain them longer. Stability emerges from commitment that is honored consistently. Not perfectly, consistently. Now observe calm. Calm is often misunderstood as softness. Calm is actually a lack of internal noise. Noise consumes bandwidth. Bandwidth is required for precision. Precision is required for power. This is why calm people feel powerful even when they say very little. They are not restrained, they are not conflicted. Their signal is clean. Power is simply clean signal applied over time. We are not removing intensity, we are containing it. Contained intensity becomes force, uncontained intensity becomes chaos. So before ambition we stabilize, before dominance we align, before expansion we compress. This is not delay. This is preparation. You do not build on unstable ground, you level the ground first. This is what we are doing. Concrete integration steps. Reduce active priorities to 3. Only 3 things are allowed to matter this week. Notice internal contradiction when you feel tired or scattered. Ask, what am I wanting that conflicts with itself? Practice calm as signal hygiene. Lower voice, slower movement. Fewer words. End the day by reinforcing stability. What did I keep consistent today? Attention is the primary asset. Before skill, there is attention. Before discipline, there is attention. Before identity, there is attention. Whatever you attend to grows in resolution. Whatever you ignore loses influence. Most humans treat attention as infinite. It is not. Attention is the most limited resource in the system, and it is continuously harvested. By noise, by urgency, by comparison, by stimulation designed to fragment. Fragmented attention produces fragmented identity. Higher systems protect attention before protecting anything else. not through force, through selection. You do not fight distraction, you outgrow it. You choose fewer inputs and allow depth to return. Depth is where leverage lives. When attention is shallow, everything feels urgent. When attention is deep, very little does. This is why calm returns when focus stabilizes. Your system stops scanning for threat and begins building structure. Notice this shift. When you focus fully on one thing, time changes character. This is not subjective illusion. This is reduced internal switching. Switching is expensive. Every switch leaks energy. Higher systems move sequentially, one channel at a time. This is not limitation. This is amplification. You do not need to see everything. You need to see one thing clearly. From clarity, action emerges naturally. Concrete integration steps. Choose one primary focus block per day. At least 30 minutes. No switching. Reduce inputs before increasing effort. Remove one source of noise before trying to work harder. Notice urgency as a signal, not a command. Urgency usually means fragmented attention. End the day with one question. Where did my attention go automatically? And where did I choose it deliberately? Emotion is information. It was never meant to be authority. In early systems, emotion acted quickly. Because survival required speed, modern environments require accuracy. When emotion commands, behavior becomes short-sighted. When emotion informs, behavior becomes precise. Higher systems do not eliminate emotion. They reposition it. Emotion reports deviation from expectation, from safety, from alignment. That is its function. Problems arise when reports are mistaken for orders. Notice this distinction now. An emotion appears, it has a tone, a pressure, a direction. You do not need to obey it. You only need to read it. Reading emotion slows it down. Slowed emotion loses coercive power. This is why awareness calms without suppression. Most humans attempt to regulate emotion by arguing with it or drowning it in stimulation. Both fail. Higher systems simply observe longer. Emotion peaks, emotion fades, signal remains. When emotion is no longer feared, it becomes useful. Anger reveals boundary violation. Fear reveals uncertainty. Sadness reveals attachment. Excitement reveals opportunity. These signals are valuable when they do not dominate the system. A sovereign system can feel deeply without acting impulsively. This is strength, not numbness, not repression. Command. Concrete integration steps. Pause when emotion spikes, 3 slow breaths before any response. Translate emotion into data. Ask silently, what is this emotion signaling? Separate feeling from action. You are allowed to feel everything. You are not required to act immediately. End the day with pattern recognition. Which emotion appeared most today? And what did it consistently signal? Freedom without law creates chaos. Law without freedom creates rigidity. Higher systems resolve this by installing internal law. Internal law is not discipline. It is not motivation. It is not self-control. It is pre-decision. When law exists, many choices never arise. Most humans negotiate with themselves constantly. Should I act? Should I wait? Should I resist? Should I indulge? Negotiation exhausts the system. Higher systems do not negotiate, they refer. Internal law answers questions before they are emotionally charged. This creates calm. Law is not a long list. Law is directional. For example, long-term clarity over short-term relief, signal over noise, structure over impulse, agency over approval. These are not preferences, they are constraints. When a situation appears, law evaluates it instantly. No debate, no drama. This is why sovereign people appear decisive. They are not brave, they are aligned. Internal law also protects you from manipulation. External systems rely on emotional hooks, urgency, guilt, fear of missing out. Law filters these out. If a request violates law, it does not enter the system. This is not harshness, this is hygiene. Once law is installed, discipline becomes easier. Not because you try harder, but because fewer things are allowed. This is how higher systems conserve energy while increasing effectiveness. Concrete integration steps. Define 3 internal laws. Write them simply. Example. I prioritize long-term clarity over short-term comfort. Use law to end debates when uncertain. Ask, does this align with my law? Notice energy savings. Pay attention to how much less mental effort. Simple alignment requires. End the day with reinforcement. Where did internal law protect me today?
Most humans experience time as pressure, deadlines, aging, urgency. This is not what time is. This is what unstructured time feels like. Higher systems do not fight time. They shape it. Time is not an enemy. time is a container. Whatever you place into the container repeats. Unstructured days create reactive lives. Structured days create momentum. This is not about doing more. It is about deciding once what time is for. Architecture replaces willpower. When time has shape, behavior flows without force. Notice the difference between these two states. What should I do now? Versus, it is time for this. The first drains energy. The second conserves it. Higher systems reduce choice frequency. They increase consistency. They do not optimize every day. They design patterns that run automatically. Morning has purpose. Work has boundaries. Rest is protected. Evening decelerates. This predictability calms the nervous system. A calm system performs better. Long-term outcomes are not created by heroic days. They are created by repeatable ones. When you stop racing time, time begins working for you. This is what discipline actually is. A relationship with time that does not require constant negotiation. Concrete integration steps. Assign roles to parts of the day. Morning builds, midday executes, evening recovers. Reduce daily decision points, eat similar meals, work at similar times, sleep at similar hours. Protect rest structurally. Rest is scheduled, not earned. End the day with orientation. Did today follow its architecture? Or did urgency redesign it?
Energy is not motivation. Energy is capacity. Most humans confuse the two. They wait to feel motivated instead of preserving capacity. Higher systems never wait for motivation, they protect energy first. Energy leaks are subtle. They hide in unfinished tasks, in constant stimulation, in emotional friction, in self-judgment. These leaks drain capacity without producing output. Before increasing effort, we seal leaks. A stable system does not push harder, it wastes less. Now observe how energy actually works. Energy rises with clarity. It collapses under conflict. Internal contradiction is exhausting. Alignment restores strength without rest. This is why indecision feels heavy and clear commitment feels light. Higher systems manage energy in layers. Physical energy supports cognition. Cognitive energy directs action. Emotional energy modulates intensity. When these layers are confused, burnout follows. When they are respected, output becomes sustainable. Recovery is not laziness. Recovery is maintenance. A neglected system fails no matter how ambitious it is. Higher systems schedule recovery with the same seriousness as execution. This is not indulgence, this is foresight. A system that preserves energy can apply it precisely when it matters.
That is real power. Concrete integration steps. Identify one daily energy leak, unfinished task, constant checking, unnecessary argument. Remove or contain it. Stop borrowing energy from the future. No sleep debt, no emotional debt, no attention debt. Separate fatigue types. Ask, is this physical, mental, or emotional fatigue? Address the correct layer. End the day with capacity awareness. Did today increase my available energy tomorrow? Or reduce it?
Environmental design. Willpower is a temporary solution. Environment is a permanent one. Most humans try to behave well inside environments that reward distraction, impulse, and inconsistency. This is not a character flaw. It is a design flaw. Higher systems do not fight themselves, they rearrange conditions. Behavior follows friction. What is easy repeats, what is difficult fades. This is not psychology. This is physics. Look at your surroundings. What you see cues behavior. What you hear shapes mood. What is within reach becomes default. Your environment is constantly instructing you on who to be. Higher systems edit the instruction set. They remove cues for undesired behavior and amplify cues for aligned behavior. Not dramatically, deliberately. This reduces internal conflict. When environment and law agree, discipline becomes unnecessary. You are no longer resisting yourself. You are flowing through structure. Digital environments matter as much as physical ones. What you allow into attention shapes identity quietly. Higher systems choose inputs as carefully as actions. Social environments matter as well. Humans mirror the systems around them. This is automatic. You do not argue with gravity. You orient around it. Environment is gravity. When aligned, it pulls you toward your intended future without force. This is how sovereign systems operate. Concrete integration steps. Remove one friction source, make the right behavior easier and the wrong behavior harder. Change what is visible. What you see first in a space sets the tone of behavior. Audit digital inputs. Unsubscribe from one source of noise. Delay notifications. End the day with alignment check. Did my environment support my law today, or fight it? Intensity feels powerful. Consistency is powerful. Most humans mistake spikes for progress. They surge, they exhaust, they reset. Resetting destroys momentum. Higher systems do not surge, they repeat. Repetition shapes structure, structure reshapes identity. Identity is not formed by what you do once, it is formed by what you do without negotiation. Intensity relies on emotion, emotion fluctuates. Consistency relies on structure, structure endures. This is why quiet systems outperform dramatic ones. When effort is steady, results compound invisibly. Compounding is slow at first. This discourages impulsive systems. Higher systems persist because they understand delayed effect. Consistency is not rigidity. It is reliable execution within flexible context. You are allowed to adapt. You are not allowed to disappear. This distinction matters. Missing once is data. Quitting is identity damage. Higher systems recover immediately. No guilt, no story. They resume. Over time, consistency removes the need for motivation. Behavior becomes automatic, automatic behavior becomes character. This is how discipline becomes effortless, not through force, through reliability. Concrete integration steps, lower daily intensity targets make today easy enough that it can repeat tomorrow. Protect streaks, not perfection, resume immediately after disruption. Measure repetition, not emotion. Ask, did I show up again today? End the day with identity reinforcement. Today I acted like someone who follows through. Most fatigue is not physical, it is decisional. Every unresolved choice pulls energy from the system. Most humans believe freedom means more options. In practice, more options create hesitation. Higher systems simplify, they decide in advance what matters and let everything else fall away. Decision simplicity is not lack of intelligence, it is respect for cognitive limits. A system that chooses constantly cannot execute cleanly. Higher systems reduce choice frequency by establishing defaults. Defaults free attention. Attention restores power. Notice how many decisions you repeat daily. What to eat, when to work, when to rest, what to engage with. Each repetition drains capacity. Higher systems automate these layers so decision energy is reserved for leverage points. This is why calm people decide faster. They are not rushed. They are not guessing. They already know what they will do in most situations. Simplicity does not remove nuance, it protects it. When trivial choices disappear, important ones receive full clarity. This is how sovereignty feels internally. Less noise, faster action, fewer regrets. Concrete integration steps. Standardize one daily decision. Meals, clothing, or work start time. Create a default response for invitations, requests, or interruptions that do not align with your law. Notice decision fatigue when tired. Reduce choice instead of forcing willpower. End the day with relief awareness. Which decision no longer needed to be made today?
Boundaries are not walls. They are filters. Most humans associate boundaries with rejection. This creates guilt. Guilt weakens enforcement. Higher systems do not feel guilty for boundaries. They understand boundaries as maintenance. A system without boundaries is consumed by external demand. Consumption reduces capacity. Reduced capacity helps no one. This is not selfishness. This is sustainability. Observe how boundaries fail. They fail when they are explained too much. They fail when they are negotiated emotionally. They fail when they are justified instead of stated. Higher systems do not over-explain. They state constraints calmly and allow reality to adjust. No anger, no apology, no drama. This is not coldness, it is clarity. People who respect structure adapt quickly. People who rely on pressure resist. Resistance reveals misalignment. Misalignment is information. Boundaries also protect identity. Without boundaries, you become reactive to others' priorities. Reaction fragments purpose. Higher systems decide first what they are available for. Everything else is unavailable by default. This default removes guilt. You're not rejecting people. You are honoring architecture. Calm boundaries increase respect because they signal self-command. Self-command is reassuring to others, even when it limits access. This is quiet authority, concrete integration steps. Define one non-negotiable boundary: time, energy, or attention. Practice stating it once. No justification, no emotional explanation. Notice guilt without obeying it. Guilt is a signal of old conditioning, not a command. End the day with reinforcement. Why did a boundary preserve my energy today?
Growth does not require suffering. It requires discomfort with direction. Most humans experience random discomfort, unchosen, unstructured, unproductive. This produces fatigue, not growth. Higher systems choose discomfort deliberately. They select discomfort that produces adaptation. This distinction matters. There is discomfort that weakens and discomfort that strengthens. Weakening discomfort is chaotic. It lacks purpose. Strengthening discomfort is contained. It has boundaries, it has recovery, Higher systems do not avoid discomfort, they curate it. They ask, what discomfort expands capacity without damaging stability? This question changes behavior. Avoidance creates fragility. Excess creates collapse. Strategic discomfort sits between. Examples are simple. Focused work without distraction. Silence instead of stimulation. Truth instead of reassurance. Delayed reward instead of impulse. These are not dramatic acts. They are quiet pressures, applied consistently. The nervous system adapts. Adaptation is intelligence expressed physically. Over time, what once felt uncomfortable becomes neutral. Neutral becomes easy. Easy becomes default. This is how higher systems upgrade without breaking themselves. Discomfort is not punishment, it is instruction. When applied with care, it teaches the system what it can tolerate and what it can master. Concrete integration steps. Choose one daily discomfort. Small, controlled, repeatable. Set a clear boundary. When it starts, when it ends. Recover intentionally afterward. Discomfort without recovery is damage. End the day with adaptation awareness. What felt slightly easier today than yesterday? Self-trust is not confidence. It is evidence. Most humans attempt to feel confident before they act. Higher systems act and let confidence follow. Self-trust is built the same way. External trust is built through consistency, through reliability, through honoring agreements. The difference is simple. The agreement is with yourself. Every time you say you will do something and do not, a signal is sent. Not to the world, to the system. The signal is this: commands are optional. Over time, the system stops responding. This is not moral failure. It is conditioning. Higher systems reverse this conditioning with precision. They make small promises and keep them. Not heroic promises, not dramatic declarations, executable commitments. This restores internal hierarchy. Awareness issues instruction. Behavior complies. Each completion strengthens the link. This is how authority is rebuilt without force. Follow-through does not require intensity. It requires honesty. Do not promise what you will not do. Promise only what you will execute. Execution creates trust. Trust creates calm. Calm increases capacity.
This cycle compounds quietly. Eventually, hesitation disappears. Not because fear is gone, but because reliability is proven. A system that trusts itself moves decisively. This is sovereignty at the internal level. Concrete integration steps. Make one small promise daily, so small that failure would be unnecessary. Complete it fully. No shortcuts, no reinterpretation. Reduce promises, not effort. Fewer commitments increase follow-through. End the day with confirmation. I did what I said I would do today.
Identity is a consequence, not a goal. Most humans attempt to change identity directly. They say, I want to become disciplined. I want to become powerful. This approach fails quietly. Identity is not something you declare. Identity is something that emerges. It emerges from repeated behavior under stable conditions. Higher systems never chase identity. They build structure and allow identity to crystallize. When structure is weak, identity becomes fantasy. When structure is strong, identity becomes inevitable. Notice how identity already works. You do not wonder. Whether you are someone who eats breakfast, you simply do it. You do not motivate yourself to brush your teeth. It is structural. This is not personality. This is design. The same principle applies to discipline, focus, calm, and authority. They are not traits, they are outputs. Outputs of environment, outputs of routine, outputs of law. When you stop asking, who am I trying to be? And instead ask, what system am I running? Change accelerates. This removes pressure. You are no longer performing an identity. You are operating a machine. And machines produce consistent output when inputs are stable. Over time, others label the output. You do not need to. This is how real identity forms, quietly, reliably, without effort. Concrete integration steps. Stop identity declarations. Replace I am becoming with I am installing this behavior. Choose one structural habit, something boring, repeatable, non-negotiable. Let others reflect identity back to you. Do not self-label prematurely. End the day with system awareness. What structure did I reinforce today that will shape who I become? Most humans overestimate what can be changed quickly and underestimate what compounds quietly. They chase short wins. They abandon slow systems. They confuse movement with progress. Higher systems think in leverage over time. Leverage is not effort. Leverage is placement. It is choosing actions that continue working, after effort stops. Short-term actions exhaust, long-term leverage accumulates. This is why patient systems outperform talented ones. Talent without leverage resets daily. Leverage continues unattended. Examples are simple. A daily practice compounds skill. A reputation compounds opportunity. A clean system compounds reliability. A clear mind compounds judgment. None feel dramatic in the moment. This is why most abandon them. Higher systems persist because they understand delay. Delay is not absence of effect. Delay is incubation. Seeds do not look like forests. When you choose leverage, you trade immediacy for inevitability. This feels uncomfortable at first. There is less feedback, less applause, less reassurance. But there is alignment. Alignment sustains effort. When emotion fluctuates, eventually the system reaches a tipping point. Progress accelerates without increased effort. Observers call it luck. You know it was structure. This is how sovereignty grows, not loudly, not quickly, but reliably. Concrete integration steps. Identify one compounding action, something that improves outcomes even when you stop actively pushing. Commit to duration, not intensity. Ask, can I do this for a year? Reduce reliance on immediate feedback. Track repetition, not results. End the day with horizon awareness. What did I do today that will still matter months from now?
Approval is a social signal. It is not a measure of truth. It is not a measure of alignment. Most humans unconsciously optimize for approval. They adjust tone. They soften intent. They delay action. This creates distortion. Higher systems optimize for signal. Signal is coherence between intention, action, and outcome. It does not require agreement. It requires clarity. Approval feels safe because it reduces immediate friction, but it increases long-term confusion. Confusion weakens authority. Authority does not come from being liked. It comes from being predictably aligned. When people know what you stand for, they adjust. When they do not, they attempt to influence. This is not personal. It is systemic. Higher systems accept temporary disapproval to preserve long-term signal. They do not provoke. They do not seek resistance. They simply refuse to distort. This calm refusal is powerful. Over time, signal attracts those who align and repels those who do not. This reduces friction. Approval seeking multiplies relationships. Signal selection improves quality. This is how sovereign systems simplify their environment. They stop asking, how will this be received? They ask, is this accurate? Is this aligned with law? Is this clean? Clean signal carries farther than pleasing noise. Concrete integration steps. Notice approval reflexes. Moments where you soften truth to avoid discomfort. Replace approval with clarity. Say less, but say it precisely. Accept temporary friction. Discomfort is feedback, not failure. End the day with signal check. Where did I choose alignment over approval today?
Manipulation succeeds where awareness is fragmented. It exploits urgency. It exploits emotion. It exploits identity and security. Most manipulation's not malicious. It is structural. Systems push where resistance is low. Higher systems do not fight manipulation. They become difficult to steer. This begins with recognition. Manipulation always contains at least one of three elements: artificial urgency, emotional pressure, threat to identity. When you learn to recognize these, the power weakens immediately. Urgency demands immediate action. Higher systems slow down. Pressure demands agreement. Higher systems ask for clarity. Identity threat demands defense. Higher systems disengage. This disengagement is not avoidance. It is refusal to play the game. Manipulators rely on predictability. Predictable reactions create leverage. When reaction disappears, leverage collapses. This does not require confrontation. It requires neutrality. Neutrality is not indifference. Neutrality is internal stability. Stable systems do not need to be convinced. They already know their constraints. This is why internal law is essential. Without law, every request becomes a debate. With law, most requests resolve themselves. Over time, others adjust their approach. Some leave, some adapt, some respect. This is natural sorting. Manipulation immunity does not isolate you. It cleanses your environment. What remains is interaction, based on alignment, not pressure. This is sovereignty in motion. Concrete integration steps. Identify the manipulation triad. Urgency, emotion,
identity fret. Insert delay by default, and your quest that triggers pressure waits. Respond with structure from an emotion. Ask for clarity. Restate constraints. End the day with immunity track. Or did I remain unsteerable today?
Silence is not absence. Silence is choice. Most humans speak to relieve tension. They explain to feel safe. They respond to regain control. Higher systems speak to shape outcomes. This is a critical difference. Every response reveals position. Every explanation exposes leverage. Every reaction reduces optionality. Silence preserves all three. Strategic silence is not secrecy. It is timing. Higher systems allow situations to unfold before intervening. They observe patterns, they notice escalation. They let others reveal intent. Silence gathers information, speech spends it. This is why premature response often weakens position. When you do not rush to fill space, others do. They clarify their motives, they expose assumptions, they overextend. You do nothing. This is not passivity. This is patience with awareness. Silence also stabilizes the internal system. Reaction creates momentum. Momentum creates commitment. Commitment limits freedom. Silence interrupts this chain. When you remain silent, emotion settles. Urgency fades, law regains authority. Then, if you speak, your words land cleanly. Fewer words, greater impact. This is why calm individuals often dominate conversations without speaking much. They are not competing, they are placing. Strategic silence also protects energy. Not every stimulus deserves response. Not every invitation deserves explanation. Attention preserved is power preserved. This is not withdrawal from life, it is selective engagement. Higher systems remain available only when presence matters. This makes presence valuable. Concrete integration steps. Delay response intentionally. Pause before replying to messages, requests, or provocation. Resist filling silence. Allow gaps in conversation without explanation. Speak only when structure is clear. If you cannot improve clarity, do not speak. End the day with placement awareness. Where did silence give me more leverage than speech would have? Attachment to outcome distorts execution. When results matter emotionally, process degrades. Hope interferes, fear interferes, expectation interferes. Higher systems separate action from result. This is not indifference. It is accuracy. You control execution. You do not control outcome. Confusing the two creates tension. Tension narrows perception. Narrow perception increases error. Outcome independence restores width. When you act without clinging to results, the system remains flexible. It adjusts faster. It learns faster. It recovers faster. Most humans perform best when nothing is at stake. Higher systems bring this state into every action. They treat success and failure as information, not identity. This stabilizes confidence. Success does not inflate, failure does not collapse. The system remains intact. This is why sovereign individuals appear calm under pressure. They are not fearless. They are unattached. Attachment pulls attention forward into imagined futures. Independence anchors attention in present execution. Execution improves. Ironically, outcomes improve as well. Not because they are chased, but because process is clean. This is a quiet paradox of power. Let go of the need for certainty. Keep commitment to quality. This balance produces reliability. Concrete integration steps. Define success as execution quality, not result, not response, not recognition. Notice attachment when it appears, name it silently. Return to process. Treat outcomes as feedback, ask. What does this teach the system? End the day with independence check. Where did I act well? Without needing reassurance. Rigid identity is fragile. When you cling to a fixed idea of who you are, every challenge feels threatening. Higher systems treat identity as functional, not personal. Identity is a tool. Tools change based on task. This is not an authenticity. This is intelligence. Most humans defend identity, even when it no longer serves them. Defense consumes energy. Energy is needed for adaptation. Higher systems update identity, the way software updates itself, quietly, incrementally, without drama. Notice how identity causes friction.
Statements like, I am not that kind of person. I always do this. I never do that. These statements feel stabilizing, they are limiting. They prevent learning. They slow response. Flexible identity removes friction. You are allowed to act differently without betraying yourself. There is no betrayal when law remains constant. Law is stable. Identity adapts around it. This distinction matters. Values persist. Methods change. Purpose remains, roles rotate. This allows you to enter new environments without collapse. You do not need to prove consistency. You need to maintain alignment. Others may struggle to categorize you. This is an advantage. Predictable systems are easy to steer. Adaptive systems are resilient. This is not chaos. It is controlled fluidity. A system that can change shape without losing direction cannot be trapped. Concrete integration steps. Notice rigid self-statements. Whenever you think I am always or I never, pause. Separate values from methods. Ask, what value am I protecting? And could it be expressed differently? Practice role flexibility. Choose one situation today to respond in a new way while honoring your law. End the day with adaptability awareness. Where did flexibility increase my effectiveness today?
Short horizons create pressure. Pressure distorts judgment. When time feels scarce, humans grasp, they rush, they overreact. Higher systems extend the horizon, not to escape responsibility, but to stabilize perception. When you zoom out, many problems shrink. They do not disappear, they become manageable. Long horizon thinking changes priorities. What matters today is filtered through what must still matter later. This removes impulsive action. Most regret is produced by short horizon decisions. They solve immediate discomfort while creating long-term cost. Higher systems reverse this. They accept temporary inconvenience to preserve future leverage. This is not sacrifice, it is sequencing. Long horizon thinking also reduces fear. Fear assumes finality, it imagines permanent loss. Extended horizons reveal cycles. Loss becomes transition, delay becomes incubation, setbacks become data. This stabilizes emotion. Stability improves decision quality. Decision quality improves outcomes. Over time, long horizon thinkers appear calm because urgency no longer governs them. They are not slow, they are unpressured. Unpressured systems move accurately. This is why patience feels powerful. It is not waiting, it is confidence in structure. When you act from a long horizon, you stop asking, what do I need right now? You ask, what future am I building quietly? That question reshapes everything. Concrete integration steps. Extend the time frame of one decision. Ask, How does this look in 1 year? Accept short-term discomfort deliberately. If it reduces long-term friction, it is aligned. Reduce urgency language. Replace now with next. Replace must with scheduled. End the day with horizon alignment. Did today's actions respect the future? I am constructing.
Most humans experience ethics as conflict. Right versus wrong. Guilt versus justification. This creates tension. Higher sisters experience ethics as alignment. Alignment is quiet. It does not argue. It does not perform. Ethical confusion arises when action diverges from internal law. The discomfort that follows is not punishment, it is feedback. Higher systems listen to this feedback early. They do not wait for consequences to force correction. Ethics at scale is not about intention, it is about impact over time. Good intentions that create instability are misaligned. Uncomfortable actions that preserve coherence are aligned. This is not moral coldness, it is responsibility. Alignment-based ethics simplify decisions. Instead of asking, is this good or bad? Higher systems ask, does this stabilize or destabilize the system over time? This removes emotional drama. It also removes rationalization. Rationalization exists to protect identity. When identity is flexible, rationalization becomes unnecessary. You adjust quickly. You correct quietly. This creates trust. Not trust built on promises, but trust built on predictability. Others may not always agree with aligned action. Agreement is not required. Consistency is over time. Alignment earns respect, even from those who resist it. This is integrity without performance. Integrity that does not need to be seen to function. Concrete integration steps. Replace moral judgment with alignment check. Ask, does this stabilize my system long term? Notice rationalization. When you explain too much, pause and reassess alignment. Correct quickly and quietly. No drama. No self-punishment. End the day with coherence review. Where did my actions feel clean and stable today?
Compassion without structure creates dependency. Structure without compassion creates brittleness. Higher systems integrate both. They care without collapsing. Most humans offer compassion reactively. They respond to visible pain with immediate relief. This feels kind. It is often short-sighted. Relief without structure prevents adaptation. Higher systems ask a different question. Not, how do I remove discomfort now? But, what response increases capacity over time? This reframing matters. True compassion does not always soothe. Sometimes it stabilizes.
Sometimes it redirects. Sometimes it withholds. This is not cruelty, it is foresight. Compassion must respect system limits. If helping weakens you, future help becomes impossible. If helping remove consequence entirely, learning stalls. Higher systems preserve consequence while reducing unnecessary suffering. This balance is precise. Now consider self-compassion. Self-compassion is often confused with indulgence. Indulgence preserves weakness. Structured self-compassion restores capacity after effort. Rest, repair, redesign. No excuses, no identity protection. This allows continued growth without burnout. Compassion guided by structure feels calm, not dramatic. It does not seek validation. It does not perform. It simply improves outcomes. This is care at scale. Care that does not deplete, care that does not distort, care that allows systems to upgrade. Concrete integration steps. Pause before helping. Ask, does this increase long-term capacity? Preserve consequence when appropriate. Do not remove every discomfort. Some teach. Set limits on care. Help within defined boundaries to avoid depletion. End the day with clarity. Where did compassion strengthen rather than weaken today?
Reactivity is not weakness. It is automation. Automation is efficient until it is exploited. Most humans are predictable because their reactions are immediate. Immediate reaction feels honest. It is often inaccurate. Higher systems introduce delay. Delay is not avoidance. Delay is evaluation. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. That space is sovereignty. When a stimulus arrives, emotion rises quickly. The body prepares, the mind wants resolution. If action occurs here, it is rarely optimal. Higher systems wait until emotion settles and perception widens. This waiting does not suppress feeling. It allows information to complete. Most emotional spikes burn out quickly if they are not fed by narrative. Non-reactivity breaks the chain. The stimulus loses leverage. The system regains control. This does not mean passivity. After delay, action may still occur, but it will be chosen, not triggered. Non-reactive people are often mistaken for calm by nature. They are not calmer, they are slower to commit. Slowness protects precision.
Over time, others adjust their behavior. Provocation decreases, pressure weakens, manipulation fails. Not because you resist, but because there is nothing to push against. This is the paradox. The less reactive you are, the more influence you have. Silence becomes weight. Presence becomes authority. Non-reactivity is not withdrawal from life. It is engagement from a higher level of control. Concrete integration steps. Insert a pause by default. Any strong emotional stimulus waits before response. Let emotion complete its cycle. Notice it rise, peak, and fall without acting. Respond only after clarity returns. Action is allowed. Reaction is not. End the day with sovereignty review. Where did delay give me more control today?
Authority does not begin with speech. It begins with presence. Presence is the visible effect of internal order. When a system is aligned, it emits coherence. Others feel this before words appear. Most humans attempt to project authority through volume, speed, or explanation. This signals certainty. Higher systems do not project. They stabilize. Stability changes the field. When you enter a space calmly, pace adjusts, attention reorganizes, noise reduces. This is not charisma, it is regulation. Regulated systems entrain others. Presence increases when self-monitoring decreases. When you stop watching yourself, signal strengthens. Stillness matters. Unnecessary movement leaks information. Unnecessary speech diffuses impact. Higher systems move only when movement adds structure. They speak only when speech clarifies. Silence between words carries authority. Eye contact that is calm, not probing, signals internal certainty. Breath that is steady signals safety and control. These cues are read automatically. You do not need to perform them, they emerge when the system is ordered. Presence is not dominance. It is reliability made visible. Others trust what feels stable. This is why presence persuades without argument. It does not push, it allows others to align. Concrete integration steps. Slow physical pace deliberately. Reduce unnecessary movement. Let stillness return. Lower verbal output, say fewer words. Let silence do part of the work. Stabilize breath in interaction. Slow breathing steadies presence instantly. End the day with presence reflection. Where did calm order influence? Without explanation, today.
Availability is a signal. Constant availability reduces value and clarity. Higher systems are not always present. They are selectively engaged. Strategic withdrawal is not avoidance. It is recalibration. Most humans over-participate. They respond quickly. They fill silence. They remain reachable at all times. This fragments energy and dilutes presence. Higher systems withdraw deliberately to restore coherence. Withdrawal creates contrast. Contrast reveals importance. When you step back, systems reorganize. Others reveal dependency, noise exposes itself. True priorities surface. This is not manipulation. This is observation through absence. Withdrawal also restores internal order. Distance reduces stimulation. Reduced stimulation sharpens signal. When you return, your presence carries more weight. This rhythm matters. Engagement without withdrawal leads to depletion. Withdrawal without engagement leads to irrelevance. Higher systems alternate. They engage fully, then disengage completely. No partial presence. Partial presence leaks energy and confuses others. Full withdrawal clarifies boundaries. Silence becomes informative. Absence becomes intentional. Over time, others adapt to your rhythm. Urgency decreases. Expectations recalibrate, respect increases. Not because you demand it, because structure enforces it. Strategic withdrawal is maintenance for influence and clarity. It preserves sovereignty. Concrete integration steps. Schedule one intentional withdrawal period. No messages, no obligations, clear start and end. Practice full disengagement. Do not check. Do not partially respond. Observe system reactions, notice what escalates and what resolves on its own. End the day with recalibration awareness. Where did absence restore energy or clarity today?
There is a moment when effort stops feeling like effort. Not because action disappears, but because resistance does. This is the threshold. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself. It arrives quietly after enough alignment has accumulated. Before this point, structure requires attention. Discipline feels deliberate. Order must be maintained consciously. After this point, structure maintains you. This is the crossing. Most humans reach the edge and retreat. They miss the familiarity of struggle. They distrust ease. They interpret calm as stagnation. Higher systems recognize the signal. When old patterns feel inefficient, not tempting. When distraction feels heavy, not alluring. When chaos feels coarse, not exciting. This is not loss. This is upgrade. Identity thins further here. You no longer need to think about who you are becoming. Behavior runs cleanly. Law executes automatically. This is why the threshold feels subtle. Nothing new is added. Interference is removed. From here, relapse becomes unlikely. Not impossible, but inefficient. Returning to reactivity feels like regression. The system prefers order. This preference stabilizes sovereignty. Others notice the change before you name it. They test boundaries, they provoke reaction. Reaction does not arrive. The system holds. This holding is the mark. You are no longer training discipline. You are inhabiting it. This is the moment when becoming ends and operating begins. Concrete integration steps. Notice what feels inefficient now. Old habits, old reactions, old distractions. Do not dramatize the shift, let the new normal settle quietly. Protect simplicity, complexity can pull you backward. End the day with recognition. What behavior now runs without negotiation?
Power that ignores rhythm eventually consumes itself. Lower systems surge, they overextend, they collapse. Higher systems move in cycles. Action, recovery, integration. This is not rest versus work. This is maintenance of coherence. When rhythm is absent, output becomes erratic. Energy fluctuates, clarity degrades. Rhythm restores predictability. Predictability calms the system. Calm allows precision. Precision sustains power. Sovereign rhythm is not rigid scheduling. It is listening to signal. On energy peaks, you apply force. When signal fades, you withdraw and restore. No guilt, no pressure. Guilt disrupts rhythm. Pressure breaks cycles. Higher systems protect baseline. Baseline stability matters more than occasional peaks. This is why endurance outlasts intensity. You do not need to be exceptional every day. You need to be consistent without damage. Rhythm also governs interaction. Engagement followed by space, speech followed by silence, visibility followed by absence. This cadence maintains authority. People trust systems that do not oscillate wildly. They feel safe near stability. Sovereign rhythm allows long operation without depletion. It is the difference between burning brightly and burning steadily.
One ends quickly, the other endures. This is the rhythm of mature power. Concrete integration steps define your natural work-rest cycle. Notice when energy rises and falls. Stop overriding fatigue with force. When signal fades, switch to recovery. Protect baseline stability. Sleep, movement, and stillness are non-negotiable. End the day with rhythm check. Did today respect my natural cycle? Unfold it.
Scarcity is not only external, it is internal orientation. It assumes not enough time, not enough energy, not enough opportunity. This assumption produces grasping. Grasping distorts judgment. Higher systems operate from post-scarcity, internally, even when resources are finite externally. This is an important distinction. Post-scarcity does not mean unlimited, it means non-reactive to lack. When you stop grasping, you see options clearly. Urgency fades, comparison dissolves, competition becomes unnecessary. Higher systems do not race, they position. They understand that value emerges from arrangement, not accumulation. Accumulation creates congestion. Congestion reduces mobility. Mobility creates leverage. Post-scarcity orientation also changes generosity. Generosity from scarcity feels risky. Generosity from abundance feels strategic. You give without depletion because identity is not tied to possession. You receive without anxiety because loss no longer threatens selfhood. This creates trust. Trust reduces friction. Friction reduction increases throughput. This is abundance as system efficiency. When scarcity dissolves internally, decision quality improves. You stop overcommitting. You stop hoarding. You stop reacting to imagined lack. You begin orchestrating. Orchestration is higher intelligence in action. You place resources, you align people, you sequence effort. This requires calm. Calm emerges naturally when fear of lack disappears. Post-scarcity is not optimism, it is structural confidence. Confidence that the system can adapt, recover, and rebuild. This confidence is quiet, but it is unshakable. Concrete integration steps. Notice grasping impulses, rushing, hoarding, overcommitting. Pause before acquisition, ask, am I accumulating or arranging? Practice strategic generosity. Give in ways that increase system capacity. End the day with abundance check. Where did calm replace urgency today?
You are no longer assembling parts. The system is whole. Nothing new is added here. What appears now is integration. Attention obeys choice. Emotion reports without commanding. Time follows architecture. Energy circulates without depletion. Environment reinforces alignment. Identity adapts without fragility. There is no internal argument. This is sovereignty, not dominance over others, command over self. You no longer ask, what should I do? You ask, what does this system permit? Permission comes from law. Law is already installed. This produces ease. Ease is not weakness. Ease is the absence of friction. Friction was created by contradiction. Contradiction has been removed. You still feel, you still decide, you still act. But action is clean. Clean action accumulates power without announcing itself. Others may sense change, they may not understand it. That is acceptable. Sovereignty does not require recognition. It requires maintenance. Maintenance is simple. Return to clarity when noise appears. Return to structure when emotion rises. Return to rhythm when fatigue signals. Nothing dramatic. Just calibration. This state does not make you perfect. It makes you reliable. Reliable systems outlast intense ones. Outlast chaotic ones. Outlast creative ones. From reliability, everything else becomes possible. You are not transcending life. You are engaging it from a higher resolution. You are no longer seeking direction. You are generating it. This is not an ending. It is a stable beginning. Remain here, not as effort, as default. The system is online. Concrete integration steps. Name your operating state, not an identity. A description, for example. Calm, structured, responsive, sovereign. Commit to maintenance, not growth. Growth now emerges automatically. Perform one daily calibration. Restore clarity, structure, or rhythm as needed. Close the album with recognition. I am no longer building myself. I am operating.